much.
Thank you.
Everybody kept saying how bright it was on stage, so I wore my sunglasses to make sure. By the way, one thing, in the sound booth, let me know how much I need to bribe y'all next year in order to choose my walk-up music, because Ozzy Osbourne, all right? Can we do that? I can't see you. I'm assuming there's a thumbs up, so. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
All right. How many of you love to travel?
Yeah, we can't see y'all, so y'all got to be loud.
You got to be louder than that. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I know we're.
It's the last session, but we're going to bring the energy. So y'all good? Excellent. All right.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that's most of you, and for good reason, right? Travel's fun, but it can also be a stressful experience for some. So today, we are going to talk to you about a travel of sorts. And everyone travels in their own way. Some people prefer a bus or a cruise type of a tour with set destinations, and they may be willing to pay more to get that kind of a trip that's planned by an expert. And so the drawbacks can be that that's more expensive. It can restrict your ability to have other adventures along the way. On the other hand, planning a trip based on recommendations from maybe friends or travel experts that allows you to use your own GPS and your own ways of getting from place to place allows you to have those adjustments and to really enable yourself to be a little more creative in your journey. One requires intensive planning and upfront investment, and once the plan is set, it can be challenging to make any kind of changes. The other method offers a more flexible, incremental progress that means you can be in charge. You can adapt based on your budget, your time, and feedback and experience that maybe you get from those who are traveling with you. And you can have quick wins along the way when you find that special place that wasn't on your itinerary that you discovered on your own. Both may lead to the same place eventually, but the experiences are usually completely different. Today, we're going to talk about that journey. Only it's a journey through website development. It seems that there's a common agency approach that's more like that bus or cruise type tour where it's more expensive, there's a set of defined milestones that don't really allow room for change. But Mitch and I are here to show you a different way, a way that you can successfully navigate that journey, one that can reduce costs, time, and also allows for a more creative approach, where you can choose your own adventure. As was already said, Mitch and I work at WebDev Studios as the Director of Business Development and Director of Engineering. And we're here to tell the story today of the Jim Joseph Foundation, an organization that came to us with a limited budget, good people, and a compelling reason to redesign and move to the Gutenberg block editor.
That's right.
They were about to celebrate their 20th anniversary. They needed an effective way to enhance their audience, to reach their audience, and to engage diverse voices and partners in leading connected, meaningful, and positive contributions. And they wanted to be able to do this on both a local and a global stage with their website. Their core problem was that traditional web development wasn't an option for the foundation since it required a lengthy timeline, and they were already in their 20th anniversary for this year. They also had no time for a significant strategy or stakeholders that were involved in the process at all levels of the organization. But they still needed a new website. But without that structured board approval, it was going to be very hard for a substantial investment to be made in the project. So today you'll learn how our team at WebDev Studios brainstormed a solution for using multiple WordPress themes on one website and the benefits that it brought to the Jim Joseph Foundation. So the challenge was that the 20th anniversary really prompted the need for that better website. Their WordPress website was on the classic theme. It was very outdated, and it needed to have a modern WordPress solution. It needed an editor that all of their team members could use. And so we were able to give them more control of their content so that team members could launch without the need of developers' assistance by bringing them to the block editor. And since the stakeholders had come to us, we talked with them back and forth several times to come up with an iterative solution that would deliver that streamlined, modern, block-based website for them and give them the workflow that they needed. Additionally, their website needed performance enhancements. So our process began with a very comprehensive website audit. We needed to look behind the scenes to see what they already had, to see what solutions we could come up with. And we looked at security, SEO, website accessibility, and the plugins that were already on the site. And doing so gave us the strong foundation so that we felt comfortable suggesting what we call theme switching technology to them. This served the need that the foundation had for continuous improvement with rapid development. Now, don't get me wrong, we do many of the monolithic designs. We build large websites at scale on a regular basis. But that wasn't an option for this client, so we had to come up with something else.
Right.
And the issues that we saw, the limitations that they had with the monolithic design were the long development cycles. They didn't have time on their side. Rigid structures of getting approval from multiple layers of stakeholders. And also, every time we go through a design system, as you know, it costs money. Anytime you send something back and have to get revisions and revisions, we didn't have time for that, and we didn't have a budget for that. So we decided as a team that as far as opportunity costs, it would be easier for Jim Joseph if we took a different approach and brought them to the newer technology so that they could have what they needed and have something that worked for all of their team members. So Mitch is going to share the solution that we came up with, a multi-theme WordPress site, which we call theme switching technology.
Thank you. The whole crux of where this idea came from starts like every good idea in an agency with a completely unrelated project hidden somewhere in a JIRA ticket. And there were several of us in the engineering department, myself and Rami Abraham, who's the head of product for this particular solution that we're going to talk about. JC Palmez, who if you've been to WordCamp Asia, you know her, you love her. And it's the digital equivalent of us all sitting around in a room together, chatting about how this other completely unrelated client could solve a similar issue. And if you know Rami Abraham, of course, you know this is very much in character for him. He said, what if we were to just run 2 WordPress themes on the same website? And we all kind of had this moment of, why couldn't we? Like, it sounds very simple in process, and it sounds very simple in execution, but it's not something that's really discussed a lot. There's a single WordPress site and a single WordPress theme that goes along with that. And the idea of being able to use multiple themes on a WordPress website was kind of unheard of. And so thanks to that project being a prototype, we were able to come in and allow a normal website build to be spread out over a larger period of time with a lesser overtime cost commitment and an easier time to be able to have not only stakeholder buy-in, but everyday user buy-in to be able to get used to and acclimated to a brand new system of design. We all like to throw around the words agile and iterative in website development, but we wanted something that was truly agile, something that could be modified on the fly if the client's needs changed, not just to be able to satisfy their requirements, but also just because at the end of a large, long website build, that's a long period of time. And in the world of WordPress especially, things change and new features are being developed rapidly. And to not be able to take advantage of those features during the process of a new website build is not doing the client any service. And we're not doing our jobs properly if we don't take that into consideration as we're going. And so, we talked about this idea of monolithic builds, this idea of a traditional website build. It's still very much a viable solution. I liken it to where you go out to a store and purchase a TV, right? You're able to go home that day and enjoy that TV, but you're doing it at a much higher upfront cost. This is a solution that I liken more to leasing that TV. You still get to take the TV home. You still get to enjoy the benefits of it, but you get to be able to do so with a lower upfront financial investment, which for a nonprofit, and to be honest, many normal everyday businesses in today's climate, it makes it a lot more of an enticing solution for them. And really, at the end of the day, we at Web Dev Studios are using it as an opportunity to help drive acceptance and adoption of Gutenberg, because we know that deep down, Gutenberg and full site editing is the future of what WordPress brings to the table. And we want to be able to include those options for our clients because that's why they're on WordPress in the first place. They want something that makes it super easy for them to be able to go in and edit their content without having to cut through a lot of red tape, without having to have developers redo their website every time they want to publish new content. And if we're developing a website for a client that doesn't include those, we are simply paying Peter to rob Paul. We are not solving the problem that a client has. And that was our biggest aha moment in this whole ordeal, is knowing that, yes, we started with this other client, but when the Jim Joseph Foundation approached us and we had already had a successful proven use of this, it was an easy choice for us to be able to come to the table and say, you're doing great work. You don't have a large budget, and that's fine, because you can take that money and use it to do the good that you're doing in the world, and we can partner beside you and help you do it over a much larger period of time and be able to then keep the resources that you need in order to continue doing that good as you're doing it. So for the iterative approach, or for the approach to the Jim Joseph Foundation, I love the word iterative because it does mean that we are building something over time. And this iterative cycle has several positives that a monolithic or larger scale project build would not be able to afford very easily. This accelerated cycle of development means that we have a much smaller time frame in order to bring these new features to market. If Jim Joseph wanted to have a new page that comes out talking about a new initiative that they're doing or promoting an event that they're doing, they don't have to plan those designs. They don't have to have the page developed. They don't have to do all of those traditional pieces of a build. They can come in and add the content inside of Gutenberg and be able to rapidly prototype those pages on their own. Now, of course, we're coming in and we're helping them set those up, right? Decisions for them. We're giving them patterns that they can use, but these patterns are available in Gutenberg. And if they were still on their old classic theme, they wouldn't have access to this. And so it would take them a lot longer to be able to do the things that they're able to do with this brand new WordPress theme that they're running alongside their old theme. It gives us a lot of flexibility and adaptability. Again, inside of the world of WordPress, things advance and features are introduced at a rapid rate. And being able to have a WordPress theme that grows with the client and is able to take care of those features and bring them in as they're introduced and as they mature. Like, clients really love to be able to know that anything that they're building is not only set for the now, but also set for the future as well. and being able to include those features and say you can use these right out of the gate because Gutenberg and full site editing are where these features are being introduced, and being able to know that it is available to them right out of the gate means that the investment that they are making doesn't feel like it's being wasted, or that it's being put into something that will eventually be rebuilt on over later. It also gave the Jim Joseph Foundation the opportunity to see the changes that they were making to their website live. They were on an old WordPress theme that was a little more locked in and static, and they had to have their developers step in order to be able to make any content changes on certain pages. And that, I mean, personally, I think that goes against a lot of what WordPress stands for. And being able to have a content user, someone who is not a developer like myself, but somebody that is just in WordPress in the day-to-day, have the freedom and flexibility to come in and add new content to their website, I think that's more of what WordPress is all about. And it helps us to feel like that we're not just working as a vendor for the Jim Joseph Foundation and vice versa. We're partnering together. We're walking along the path together, and we're helping them and empowering them to be able to make those changes on their own. We talked a little bit about the cost effectiveness too, and that is a bonus for all of this. It allowed them to be able to transition the website over time, and so they were able to take resources that they would have dumped into a traditional WordPress website build in one chunk and spread that out over time, which freed up those resources to be able to do more of the work that they do and not have to worry about putting that toward logistics or marketing or any of these other things. We were able to help them to be able to use those for the good that they're doing versus just setting up their website and doing traditional development. And finally, one of the biggest things that we talk about with them, or we talked about with them, was their website performance. And whenever when we take on a new client, we do a significant audit of their website. We talk about ways that we can improve site performance, loading speed, page metrics, all of these different things. And we've got some examples coming up in a little bit on the slideshow, but we were able to, just by moving them to a theme that was more performant without any further optimizations, we were able to raise their core web vital scores significantly. And again, that's with no other optimizations, no image optimizations, no text optimizations. It's just giving them a theme in WordPress that was better built for the content that they're wanting to put in. Out of the gate, immediate results and return.
Can I show those results?
Absolutely, please do, yeah. So this was their original website, their homepage. And as you can see, they have a performance score. And we use GT metrics for a lot of that. We also compare that with Lighthouse scores. They were given a D, which is not a great score. And as you can see, the performance score was in the low 60s, or the high 50s, low 60s. It took 3 seconds for the first bits of the site to show up on the page when it loaded. However, again, with no other optimizations, just switching them over to a performant theme, we gave them 2 full letter grades back in their GT metric score and raised their performance up by 20%. And again, does that mean that there's more work to be done on the website? Absolutely. But what it means is that the theme itself was playing a large part of the problems that they were having with their website, and it allowed us as an agency to stand beside them and make recommendations to lay the foundation to make sure that the rest of the things that they did were moving that needle, and that it wasn't something that was hiding in the theme that was causing the problems. So from an old, non-optimized, older, classic-built WordPress website theme to a brand new, modern, full site-ready, Gutenberg-ready theme, the difference in the core web vital scores and their performance scores is markedly obvious. And then you can build on top of, we built on top of that, or we helped them build on top of that to further optimize their website.
So we learned a lot of lessons along the way. We're going to be sharing those with us. You want to go first, Mitch?
Oh, no, absolutely, please. I mean, as far as, with any new workflow and any new thing that we try, like we at Web Dev Studios are not married to the workflows and procedures of the past. We don't want to be one of those move fast and break things kind of agencies, but we also know that just because something has worked well in the past doesn't mean it's the best way to do it. And so we're always trying to find new ways to enhance and edit our workflows, you know? And really, the idea of running 2 different themes on a WordPress website, you can imagine the amount of technical hurdles that we had to get over in order to be able to make that happen. But quite honestly, it helped us not only on our website design and development for projects like the Jim Joseph Foundation, including them, but it also helped us to realize along the way just how much, number one, how much effectiveness a good WordPress theme has on Core Web Vitals, but also understanding how users want to be able to utilize modern WordPress. And I think that with, you know, Gutenberg is almost reaching its double digits in how long it's been around. Hard to believe it's been around since 2016, right? Like, any other old WordPress people in the house? Yeah, I see you. I see you all. So, and realistically, like, being able to adopt into Gutenberg, knowing that that is where the future of WordPress lies, a large part of, I think, the hesitance of that is knowing that there is a significant investment to be able to handle that. Yeah.
Okay, and now we have a solution.
We do.
We found a way that worked for this client and for others, and so instead of just keeping it to ourselves, we've released it as a plugin. It's called Theme Switcher Pro. And any website owner now can use that to do the same process themselves. So yes, it may take them time, but they are able to move their site from classic or any builder or any other theme to a new theme.
Yeah, and
in an iterative fashion.
What I think it helps to knowing that, and I'm sure many of y'all are aware of this, but people that run websites are very busy people. Like, I enjoy doing this, but some people just do not enjoy having to get in and work on a website. And I know a lot of us, we're all WordPress fans. That is very surprising to some to hear that. But like normal everyday users, they see it as just another thing that they have to do. And if the tool gets in the way of the thing they have to do, they won't use it, which means their website stagnates, their Core Web Vitals score goes down, potentially, or it means that people stop visiting their website because information, that website's not the right place to get it. They'll go elsewhere. And I think people want to work on a website. And even if, you know, I'm not saying that it has to be the most fun thing for a user to do, but if we can come in and make that process easier for someone to where they at least don't dread it, I feel like we've done our job as developers.
And we work with a lot of enterprise clients. And so these are clients who in the last couple of years have had budgets cut. People have left their teams. They don't have the resources they once had to do these major monolithic builds that were done in the past. And this provides an iterative solution for them to be able to get not only the help, but the progress that they need so that they can empower their teams. And I think that's just a great solution all the way around.
I agree. And I think it works well for many different things too, like really any enterprise client or even non-enterprise clients. Because I know there are mom and pop shops that are also out there that are struggling because times are hard. And I think any way that we can make that process easier for everyone across the whole spectrum is a net win for not only the business owner, but for us as an agency and WordPress in general, you know? Any way that they can find to where, anywhere where they can go in and get the things they need to done on the website and get out and have the time and the budget necessary to be able to go and run their business. I think that's a net win on everywhere around.
Absolutely. So we wanted to share this with you because we don't want to keep it secret. We think this is a fantastic thing that we've kind of stumbled upon and because of client needs. We have been able to take sections of a website and improve just that section because that's where the traffic was coming to so that their Core Web Vitals could be higher, not just on Jim Joseph, but on large media sites and other clients that we've had that have come in and have needed this iterative approach. And it's been a game changer. And we wanted to share that with you today and just see how we can start this conversation of talking more about how you might be able to help your clients and what questions do you have about theme switching technology?
And quite honestly, and Jen may kill me for saying this on stage, and so I apologize, but I would be very much okay if somebody were to take the solution that we've developed and over the course of a year, 6 months, 2 years, however long it takes. Anybody familiar with the ship of Theseus, right? You start with one ship, you rebuild it over time with new parts, and at the very end, you have a brand new thing. And if that means that you don't need that solution anymore, like you can turn the plugin off, I think that's okay. Because at that point, you're on Gutenberg. You're on a full site editing experience, which means that you, as a site owner, are primed and ready to receive all of the new enhancements and features that WordPress has to offer. Because that is where the innovation is coming in.
And Mitch, you're not in danger.
Okay, good.
We've actually told our clients that same thing. They can go page by page on their site. It's just a little toggle switch. Do you want to use your theme 1 or do you want to use the block editor or whatever the secondary theme is? Oh, and that's something else. 28 themes on one website.
Well,
Tell them that story.
Yeah, so Rami, again, if you know Rami Abraham, he's been in the WordPress community for a while. This is how his mind works, and it's awesome. He asked, I wonder how many themes that I can run at once on a website as we were edge testing this. 28 is the number with no performance hits. You would probably not want to run 28 themes on the same WordPress website, but it can be done. And I think it also proves that if you needed more than one theme or 2 themes for many other purposes, and one of the other cases that we've seen this useful for, maybe somebody doesn't want to redo their entire website right now. Maybe they want to be able to create squeeze pages or sales pages or marketing pages easily. And having a block-compatible theme to be able to run alongside a traditional WordPress theme, something that can do those pages more iteratively and more agile, is a game changer for a lot of marketing and sales departments. Something that they can use to where even if their old site is something where IT still has to get involved or they still have to do development on to make new content, they now have an opportunity to be able to rapidly and more quickly develop the content that they need to develop.
Yes, and as more core blocks are being built and developed, it allows for more patterns for those marketers to be able to just get a landing page out in a couple of minutes instead of weeks or months if they have to rely on a developer.
Absolutely.
So we've seen this as a big win for our clients. And I think, Mitch, do you have anything else you want to add, or should we go to questions?
No, I think we have covered everything. So we, again, would love to talk to you all about this. Catch us in the hallway. We're more than happy to walk you through the process. If you're more technical, talk to me. I'm happy to be nerdy and walk through all of the deep dive details with anybody that wants to talk about it. But otherwise, I think we can open it up for any questions. There's 2 microphones. If every other speaker hasn't said so already, there are 2 microphones being lit by spotlights.
There you go.
Please come forward and let's chat.
Yeah.
Over on the right. Hello.
There.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
My name is Mike Jondro. I was wondering, so we have a client that is on WordPress.com. As many people know, it's a little bit more locked down from developers and being able to access the back end and that kind of thing. Does this kind of approach work on something that would be more limited as opposed to, like, say, a self-hosted WordPress instance?
That's a great question. WordPress.com people, if you're out there, call me. Because that is you're absolutely correct. WordPress.com being the ecosystem and infrastructure that it is limiting to the amount of plugins that you can use. I will say, kind of on that same architecture, but at the opposite end, we have tested this on many different hosting platforms. Unfortunately, WordPress.com is one where it doesn't work, just because they are limited in the approach of plugins that you can use. But we've used this on VIP and other similar hosting platforms with 0 problems. And it is needing to be a self-hosted WordPress install.
Okay.
That is the caveat.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep,
Thank you.
Of course.
Anyone else?
We have some questions that we thought you might ask, and so we're going to answer those for you.
Okay, let's go to
if that's all
those.
right with y'all.
It looks like we got a question coming up here. I figured
just
you guys
in.
are like absorbing it, right? Trying to figure out how this works. Hello.
Hi. I'm Nick Hans. My question is, what happens at 29 themes?
Your hosting company sends you a really nasty email. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, theoretically, 28 was where he stopped. And again, it was very much an edge case. And like, I appreciate that comment because now I want to go have him do 30 just because I know he wants to. But realistically, like, I can think of cases where that would be potential, right? What if you, and I know there are probably easier ways to do this, but what if you could do a theme for every state or every country, right? Again, there are easier ways to do it, but it is possible. And it also allows you to have a singular install that controls all of the aspects of that. Because then, you know, you start talking about that, you start getting into multi-site and all of these other contingencies that have to be taken into account. And sometimes you want to keep it simple. And I think, yes, so after, like, it's not a 28 being a hard number, it's Rami got bored and stopped installing themes. But it definitely could continue on. And from a technical perspective, we're not loading 28 themes all at once. From a technical standpoint, what this is doing is asking very early in the load stack, what theme do you want to use? And immediately routing the user through that theme's load process to get only what you need to out of it, which is why performance is such a big deal, because it's not loading 28 themes at once. It's loading one theme where it needs to be. And if that theme is performant and built well, it will give you better performance gains. Obviously, that's not counting any other optimizations like images and stuff like that. But from a code organic level, it gives you the opportunity to use a well-built theme to be able to do what you need and get those performance gains. Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, and we welcome these questions because these help us to kind of roadmap our future with this development and this technology. Oh, another question
on the left.
Here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So that was loud. Josh Bryan, I work at Dow Jones. I have a question. I'm assuming that there's a default theme so that when I add a new page, that theme is going to be the one that it does by default.
Yes.
And we keep saying pages. Does this also apply to posts? And can you set different defaults for different post types?
That is a great question, and the answer is yes. So we do have with the plugin an included interface to where you can go in and set some common, we'll call them conditionals, right? I want to have every post in this category and the archive page be on a new theme, and everything else is not. At the post level or page level, or let's call it single content level, you can go in and say, I want this theme to be used. And so you can set it as granularly, or as holistically as you want. If you are a developer and you want to get into the more technical aspects and instigate it with a function or something similar, if there is a WordPress conditional or some sort of Boolean identifier that you want to use, we take all of that into consideration. And you can use as many if or case or whatever statements that you want as a developer to be able to instigate those themes as much as you need to. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Mike Allen, Presswrite. Has it been tested? I mean, it's a really amazing idea. Has it been tested on anything like where you could run Beaver Builder or Elementor or Breakdance or anything like that, and not just Gutenberg?
That's a great question. And we're currently running through the gambit of any of those to be able to, we've done a lot of testing, and a lot of those do work alongside of Theme Switcher out of the box. I actually was talking with Brian Cords over at Woo. We're going to talk to him about making some very tighter knit Woo integrations, WooCommerce, Storefront, all those sort of things. We're working with Lifter, LearnDash, several of the learning management softwares. Anything that would introduce a new workflow or a different way of using WordPress. We have probably got a ClickUp tag somewhere where we have talked about it and have thought about it. And our goal is to make it as accessible for anybody using any WordPress plugin or service to be able to have the opportunity to move over to a Gutenberg-centric workflow. And so if we haven't done it, talk to us about it, and we can include it in our workflow because we are very open to any of those sorts of things. But we have done a lot of those already out of the box, and they're already working as of this release.
And you mentioned Woo. So if you're on WooCommerce and you want a redesign of your website, usually that meant having to get a whole new website. Now you could change your homepage and keep your store pages the same.
Yep.
So it really does provide for opportunity and options. Yes.
I have a question like, is this works with multi-site? And is there any performance issues if you have two themes, one page, one theme, second page, some other
Yeah,
theme?
so I'll answer your last question first, and then we'll go back to multi-site. No, performance-wise, again, if you're loading one page and you go into that page and say, I want to use this theme instead, it is only going to load that theme, because the way it works is it basically routes through the theme options and the load stack that it would natively run. As far as multi-site goes, that is a great question that I do not have an answer for right now, but I can, if you find me afterwards, I will get your email and I will let you know. Because I know we have done testing with several, again, we've done testing with several of those things. Multi-site was one I forgot to check on. So I can find out and let you know. And if it's not, it will be very soon, because we understand that multi-site's a big part of WordPress and its ecosystem.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I am not going to be the one to keep people from going to happy hour. Please do not let that be the case. So thank you all for allowing us to come and talk to you about all of the cool stuff that we're doing with Theme Switcher. I think the last slide has some contact information. I will be here. I'm easy to find. Look for the sunglasses. I want to talk to you about it. And I want to talk about anything WordPress with you, because I will geek out with you at any point in time. So please come find me. Please come find Jen. And we're more than happy to chat about whatever WordPress stuff that you want to. So
I was going to say, if Mitch's line is too long, talk to me. I'll get you in queue, and we'll, we can transact after the camp or at other points in the camp.
I'll talk
to make
fast.
sure that you can learn what you need to learn.
Thank
today.
you all very, very much.
Thank you so much.